Entitled roommate moves her boyfriend in without asking. Then this happened.
Interesting.
At this point, I might just be looking to vent because she's choosing to not understand. I'll take advice though. My roommate is 27 and her boyfriend is 30-ish. She met her boyfriend shortly after we moved in, and slowly but surely, he was here every night and no longer had an apartment. Okay. Found all of this out and overheard phone calls, etc. Didn't care much at first because he would help take care of her dog that was pissing all over the house. But after a year, girl, a year? I asked for him to pitch in. I was told he doesn't have any money and that she would talk to him. I fail to understand how this is your problem.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's very funny. Not only are you not getting as much space, but you didn't sign up for that. And I'm pretty sure that he is contributing to the cost of bills, right? You're using more water, electricity, and I'm assuming he's not paying for food either? Yeah, I'd be mad. A couple of months later, we get a lease renewal and she lets me know they are getting an apartment together, which if you can afford to move into an apartment together, you can pay for your fair share here. I asked him to contribute for the last 3 months of our lease and then found out he has been paying rent. Just only to her. Stop it. So she's been pocketing the money. Something tells me he's not gonna like that when he finds out. For reference, we live in a luxury high-rise downtown Chicago apartment with full amenities. This idea that he only uses her space is nuts. They're fighting all over the house. For a while, he was stealing my gardening equipment daily and even had the nerve to wake me up at 3 a.m. to give him gardening equipment. They use the common areas more than I do. How are people this unaware? No, trust me, babe. They're aware. Oh, they know.
She knows. She always knows.
2 nights after we exchanged these texts, my roommate's boyfriend and friend come into the apartment while my roommate isn't home and goes straight to my room, sees I'm there, then says, oh, and closes the door. So for reference, it's 2 a.m. and I wake up to 2 grown men in my room. They proceed to play music loudly and yell at me to call the cops if I care. I have a sliding bedroom door that doesn't lock or cancel out any living room noise. Oh, absolutely not. No, people are absolutely aware of what they're doing. They probably heard some story from your roommate about,
Oh my god, my psycho roommate. She she wants more rent from you, even though you've been paying rent.
meanwhile, she's pocketing the rent. Yeah, they fully know a completely different version of events, or maybe they're just there to intimidate you. I don't know. I had a meeting with management on Monday to explain the situation. I laid some ground rules down. I'm sure they won't follow. And yeah, cheers to the worst upcoming 3 months. Okay, we have some texty wexties. Okay, so the previous text we don't have fully. It's convenient only for you. To me, he's just an extra person I didn't sign up for. Why am I paying extra for that? We've had this rent the same since we moved in. How is it costing you more? $2,300? The living room when you're not home mostly. And dude, what are you talking about? He's my boyfriend and he's paying me rent because he's living in my space. No, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. I highly doubt that if you explain that to your landlord or the management, that they would agree with her.
Nope.
If you want half the electric paid, that's all you had to say. You're taking your anger out on me, it feels like. I'm confused that this is even happening. This is not how the world works, okay? You're sharing a space. He's using the shared space. I'm assuming he's using the bathroom. He's using the kitchen. He's stealing your stuff. Your gardening equipment. And not to mention, I'm not down to live with somebody's boyfriend. As a woman, when you choose to live with female roommates, it's because you expect a certain amount of kind of privacy when you come home. When you live with a male roommate, every time you leave your room, you have to cover up. You can't go to the bathroom in your underpants. You definitely have to put a robe on. I'm sure he's contributing to mess in some ways. This is not how the world works, okay? She's wrong. You're wrong, loud and wrong, and she doesn't know how to spell the word half. Okay. That just leads me to believe maybe she's just stupid. Are you just really dumb? Because you don't know how to spell the word half. And I am gonna be judgmental about that.
This is basic English.
How is this so confusing? A $2,000, $850 split is not standard for this living arrangement. I'm sorry if it seems out of the blue, but so is moving and all of the expenses that come with it. I'm not angry, I feel taken advantage of. The rent is $3,800 to live in this apartment and we need to be splitting it evenly next time we pay rent or he needs to move out. I like living with you both and hope we can agree on a number. I'm honestly confused on what you want him to pay. He's paying me for my portion of the rent plus laundry, etc. That's not how you spell etc. Oh my God. I'm so judgmental about spelling. Like you don't even know. Especially if you're being a pain in my, I'm gonna judge you about spelling. Our utilities have never changed. They've been $150 and have been a part of our rent. For the electric, I wish you brought that up a long time ago. I wasn't aware. But he's never there unless to walk Bean when I'm at work. $150 is through the building for amenities and maintenance and does not cover heat and electric. Why is she just assuming that like it doesn't cost any money? It absolutely does. We set that up day one together. He is here often without you even being gone. I know he's waiting for you to get off work, but I really don't want this to turn into a conversation about if he actually lives with us or not. He absolutely does and has. Why would he just pay you? I'm also living with him. He's just an extra roommate to me. I don't want to go through all the ways it inconveniences me. If you live somewhere, you should pay your fair share. I'm not fighting that he lives with us, but he also pays me because he's my boyfriend and I'm spending more again with laundry, etc. He's in my room, my bathroom. He's here to sleep mostly, not all the time. Why would he pay you? Oh my God. And why is this all coming up after I tell you I'm moving out? I brought it up before and was told he doesn't pay you. Wow. If you were resigning, I would have waited until the lease is up. Sarah, it's not fair that I'm paying $2,300 a month and you guys are paying $850 each. It's not right at all. He's living with us and you use the kitchen and living room all the time. And exactly, he is your boyfriend. This is convenient for only you. To me, he's just an extra person I didn't sign up for. Why am I paying extra for that? We've had this rent the same since we moved in. How is it costing you more? $2,300? Oh my God, no. It like literally, this is actually irritating me. I'm actually getting so irritated. It is confusing. I'm your glorified maid and I clean up for your time and time again. Sauce everywhere, your to-go food, your friends' stuff. You're joking, right? I make sure all the common areas are cleaned. Are you serious right now? You're being taken advantage of. Okay, I'll let you think that. The total you gave me and what I pay equaling out to $4,059, which is not our rent. I live in the smaller room with a shared bathroom. Why would I split it down the middle? Cole is not a roommate. He's my boyfriend paying me for the rent I pay. I don't know why that doesn't make sense to you. No, that's not how it works.
No! God, please, no!
He's not paying me $850. He's throwing me some here and there when I was struggling. The rent has never changed. Ugh, get you and your deadbeat boyfriend out of my face. Like, I'm sorry. I'm off. The rent has never changed since we've lived there. He sleeps and then lives in my space. I remember telling you twice in the winter I don't want to live there anymore. It's not out of the blue, nor are you being taken advantage of. If you want us to cover the electric for the last few months, that's fine with me, but it's never going to be an even split. I literally pay extra since you clean for having a larger room, all of which was decided day one, and you literally asked for that to be the case. Your rent is for you and only you per our lease. That's what I signed up for and what I'd like to get back for these final months. Why did Cole come into the apartment and go straight into my room? I'm assuming that this is when, he's been in there without your permission before. He closed my door when he saw I was here. Is someone else here? I have no idea. He's with Tyler. This is what I'm talking about. If he paid rent, I wouldn't give a I would argue even if he did pay rent, he shouldn't be going in your room. People in the comments are like, why didn't you call the cops to see like some dude coming in your room and some random dude and playing music, egging you on to call the cops? Yeah, this is gonna be a hard no from me. I don't know if you're ever gonna get rent from him. Just be thankful that they're moving out. Be thankful, because I'm getting irritated and it's not even happening to me. So we do have an update. So OP answered some common questions and comments. We've had multiple conversations leading up to this. Why is she acting surprised? Not sure. Similarly, why are you believing she's a glorified maid? She's grasping at straws, coming up with a way to validate her bum boyfriend. I mean, if the shoe fits. She is a glorified maid, just not to me. I'm using fairly and evenly interchangeably, which is pissing everyone off. So for the record, I always planned to pay the majority, just split 3 ways, proof in the pic. Update. Sorry for the delay. I've actually been in the hospital since Monday, so those lucky B words got an extra week of freedom. Okay, let's look at this text. For the remaining months, can we talk about Cole pitching in for rent? He's been here for a year for free, so I feel like a portion is fair for the remaining 4 months. I've been paying all of the utilities, and those have been very high with all of us here. He's already paid me some this month, but yes, that's okay. I understand. That should go toward the total apartment though, yeah? Just let me know what you guys work out. I can be flexible. Yes, I will talk to him. How you should split the rent. Room 1, $2,200. Room 2, $1,546. So I talked with management this morning, and here are the bullet points. This will not affect my tenancy in the building or the lease I'm about to sign. She's violating multiple parts of the lease, and they will be starting with an email warning. I genuinely think this will be the most helpful, as they think I'm coming at them from a personal angle. This is the thing, right? It's like they could have avoided all of this by just being reasonable with you and like giving you some of the money back. But they're not supposed to say that there's 2 people living in the apartment signing a lease and then not telling the management, not telling the landlord, and adding another person. It's not how that works. If he's in the apartment without my roommate, I can and will be calling the cops. They will support me in the report. This will also lead to him being banned from the building. My roommate said she can move out July 31st, so I only have a couple of months to get through. Let me know if you have any other questions. I am an open book. Yeah, it's interesting that now I bet you anything they understand, because now it's like the landlord is involved and he says that's not allowed. Honestly, glad the leasing office is behind you. Most don't give a shit so long as the rent goes through. I actually disagree with that. It doesn't work like that. Especially if like there's certain buildings that like cover utilities. Like I know you don't, but like, you know, it's also a liability thing, right? There's another person living there that wasn't on the lease. No bueno. Everybody in the comments is like, get a camera. And I agree. Good luck with the next 3 months. We have some more entitled roommates. Don't go anywhere. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video and you enjoy this channel, you've been watching it, maybe it's your first time here. I'd love it if you subscribed. We have fun here. We have a great community. New roommate wants the 4-bedroom to herself. Just moved into a new place. She would rather have it to herself. I, 22 female, just moved into a 4-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. I found this place on June Homes, and I'm here for a little over 3 months. Upon my arrival to this apartment, my roommate, S, 27 female, looked shocked to see me walk in. I politely tell her I'm one of her new roommates. Oh, did they not tell you? They gave me the option to approve or deny roommates, and I sent them an email saying I don't want to live with you. Okay, strange first interaction with someone. I then told her they already took my money, and therefore I will be living there. All is okay, and I don't see her until the following day. I was moving the rest of my stuff in, and we were discussing our habits. She likes to have her own things, and I told her that was absolutely fine. I had my own plates and cookware, as I have a food allergy. I then go to throw something away, and she tells me I can't use her kitchen garbage can. Okay. I explained to her that I would not mind taking the trash out if it meant I didn't have to go out and purchase another garbage can. She agrees. Mind you, her belongings take up the majority of our shared living space, empty boxes, bins, and clothing. It is to the point where it's blocking the bedroom door of another tenant. S has 2 cats. I believe they are registered ESA animals, but I'm unsure if both of them are. They've been in her room the entire time since I moved in. Poor cats. Fast forward to yesterday. I'm getting ready to leave for a friend's birthday party, and I need to shower and use the bathroom. I check at 8:30 and the shower is on. I then go and do my thing for about an hour, and the shower is still on at 9:30. I knock on the door and S opens it. She is not showering, but has the tub faucet on for some reason. Okay. It's like major waste of water, but okay. Eventually she leaves and I'm able to do my thing. But S had been using the bathroom for well over an hour, which rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah. Shared bathroom. Like, what if you needed to take a dookie? Where were you supposed to dookie? And whatever, you're both paying rent. You're both entitled to use that bathroom. An hour in the bathroom is criminal. I would say you're only entitled to use the bathroom for that long as no one else is needing it. Fast forward to this morning, I was coming in from staying the night at my friend's and I see dishes, my dishes, on the counter. I assumed that she had ran the dishwasher while I was out and has left it out for me to put away. This was not the case. She went out of her way to empty everything that was not hers from the dishwasher and just washed her own dishes. Shut up. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Be so for real. She comes out of her room and my dirty dishes had been sitting on the counter overnight.
Bruh.
You know, it's actually shocking how many people operate this way. I used to live in a shared apartment in New York, and I lived actually with like 3 or 4 guys. I chose that because the other situation was a bunch of girls that seemed like they hate each other the first time they met. So I'm like, nope, I want zero drama, only boys. But I used to clean the dishes for like everyone, right? Because that to me is like, why would I just leave mess when I'm doing the dishes? It takes literally 10 seconds to clean a dish. And just like, I didn't even have a dishwasher. I cannot even fathom taking dishes out of the dishwasher that is going to be run anyway just to prove a point? No, this person is crazy. Did you take my things out of the dishwasher? Oh yes, sorry, I can empty my stuff out now. In this moment, I then meet the person who is in the room next to me, N, 28 male, and we discuss how she's been acting. Apparently, when he had toured the place, S was out there trying to convince him not to move in. The person giving the tour says that S does this frequently, and it seems as though she wants this 4-bedroom apartment to herself. Again, being very weird and a bit antagonistic. Can she afford a 4-bedroom apartment to herself in New York? Then she should go and get a 4-bedroom apartment by herself. 30 minutes go by, and I see a note on the trash can. I know I told you I was uncomfortable with you using my trash can, but now I'm not. Can you please buy yourself a new one? Oh my God. Literally kill me. This really set me off. She comes out and I ask her if she can move some of her belongings out of the shared space to make room for another trash can. Okay, so this is what the shared space looks like. This is all of her. It's always the people that are the ones that don't follow the rules, that are making all the rules and projecting their rules onto other people. Doesn't surprise me. So, can you move all your belongings out of the shared space to make room for another trash can? I don't have space in my room.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Not my problem, I fear. I then explained to her that it's very weird to take someone's dirty dishes out of the dishwasher without saying anything. Yeah, it's not her dishwasher either. I'm assuming it came with the apartment. And I question why she can only wash her things and not anyone else's. I tell her that we can use the dishwasher pods I bought. I can't use that dish detergent. It would ruin my plates. I just tell her she needs to get rid of a few boxes so there's space for others to have their belongings, and we leave it at that. I purchase a new garbage can and bags and bring it inside. Anne is now in the shared space and says to S, would you be able to move your trash can? If none of us are allowed to use it, I don't think it should be in the shared space. I'm sorry, I don't have space in my room. Anne goes on to tell her it doesn't make sense to have that out in the common area when nobody else can go near it. He ate with that. I completely agree. No, because seriously, this is the thing about being antagonistic in a shared space. If you're gonna come with that energy, you better be prepared to receive that energy too. But here's the thing, like, so remember I told you I lived in an apartment with 4 guys because like the situation with 4 girls was like, it looked very sketchy. Oh my God. So I was friends with one of the girls that lived in like that apartment. It was below me. The stories I would hear, I had heard that it got really weird, especially like with the dishes. And one time my friend left a dish out, and because there was so much, they were so antagonistic toward each other, her roommate broke the dish and left it outside of her room for her to step on when she left her room. Broken dish. Yeah, it's safe to say I'm really glad I didn't live there. That's what I'm saying, is that like when you come in with like, it's not like, okay, we're willing to collaborate. When you come with an energy that's like antagonistic instead of collaborative, like everybody needs to communicate, right? Everybody needs to communicate, and like realistically, you can really stay out of each other's ways, especially like in a place like New York where nobody's ever home, right? You come home to sleep, shower, change, occasionally have a meal, but most of the time people aren't really at home in New York. So it's entirely possible for everybody to just get along, clean up your don't, antagonize other people, and there should be no problem. Like, this is literally how you human. It's not difficult, okay? Definitely document everything, because like, as I recall, it got so antagonistic in my friend's unit that like the cops were called and it got really weird and she got kicked out because like the other roommates were just making it really difficult for her to live there. Yeah. So now I'm here trying to figure out what to do. I feel as though she acts this way to try to get people to move out. Oh, absolutely. But like, how is the rent being paid though? Is she just paying for her room? And then it would be like the landlord's responsibility to find somebody else? Is that the game she's playing? I plan on documenting everything and keeping it handy should this get further escalated, but otherwise I'm unsure if there's anything I can do. Any advice would be appreciated. I feel like it would be good to like let people know, your landlord, Because it sounds like this is some sort of scam to like only pay for her rent and make it impossible for anyone else to live there. How can you afford a 4-bedroom place in New York by yourself? That's like easily probably like $10,000, I'm guessing. Just throwing that number out there. So let's look at these pictures. So this is everything on the wall that's hers, minus the ladder. Her belongings blocking the door of another tenant. Her room. She looks like a hoarder. Everything but the black trash can I purchased today is hers. Shut the f up. This is all her. Oh, absolutely not. You know that her room looks like that too, eh? Like, for sure. When she says that there's no room, no. The box in the right corner is mine, but here's a full view of the room. I would say she's causing more problems than she's worth. Because what do you mean you're just like leaving your apartment in disarray like this for other people to deal with? These are the dishes, the dirty dishes she left out, which would not have cost her any time. Like, she didn't even have to put the dishes in. Your dishes were already in the dishwasher. No, she cray-cray. She cray-cray. It's actually shocking how many people actually operate like this, though. It's crazy. So we do have an update. Firstly, I want to start by saying thank you for all the advice I received from all of you. It was helpful. To those who were looking for a malicious compliance response from me, I believe you will be disappointed. I just don't think that would be the smartest way to handle things, and quite frankly be a little immature this early on to my stay here. This is the thing about like being petty in a situation like this. Like, it will escalate to the point where like it's unsafe. Secondly, I would like to explain a few things. S has been living in this apartment for well over a year. Our rental company works like student housing. All 4 of us have separate leases and we each pay our own room and use the shared space. You can rent a room for as little as 1 month, but up to 2 years. 3, when a tenant is already living in the apartment, they get an email showing them the profile of a potential new tenant. You can sign a form that is a notice of decline if you do not want to live with the replacement tenant. S tried to sign that for all 3 of us who moved in, and I assume has done it to most people who've tried to live in the apartment with her. It must be some kind of scam where she's allowed to pay for only her share, and then she gets the whole place to herself.
Smart move.
I'm pretty sure S has some form of contamination OCD, which explains but does not excuse a lot of her weird behavior when it comes to separate trash cans, long showers, and not wanting to have other people's dishes in the dishwasher with her things. No, I don't even know if it's OCD because, like, what's with all this mess then? No, I think that this is literally, like, I'm sorry, but this doesn't excuse the behavior. Like, she is trying to make it difficult for you guys to live there so she can have the place to herself. It's as simple as that. Obviously, this is not something I can bring up with her directly as it would be completely inappropriate, but it seems like this is the case. Last night, S moved the boxes that were blocking the doorway of the other tenant, before and after, picture above, before, after. Oh, how nice, thank you. I now have met that tenant, P, and he is not as concerned with the situation as he will only be living with us for a month. I'm glad she moved the boxes. They are now on another table in the shared living space. While it is now no longer a hazard related to P's doorway, it still violates the lease terms because our shared space is being used as her personal storage unit. That's my thing, like, get a storage unit. I'm sure they have one in the building, or get rid of some of your honestly. This morning we had a cleaning lady come in with the rental company when new tenants move in. That was all fine until I heard S laughing with the cleaning lady, and I stepped outside into the common area to see what was going on. As soon as I walk out, S asked the cleaning lady if they can talk about something outside. I would only assume she was complaining about us. I bet she was literally saying,
Oh my god, look at them. They're so messy. Look at all this stuff in the common area.
I had a roommate that used to do that. She refused to do dishes, and like, you know, being me, I was the one that always did the dishes, and she would never do dishes. And then one time I was like, I'm not gonna do all these dishes, you don't do the dishes. So the dishes just started piling up, and I was just like on strike. I was like, that, I'm not doing your dishes one more time. And she would bring people into the apartment and be like,
Oh my god, Charlotte's so messy. Like, look at this pile of dishes she didn't do.
and it's her dishes! And she never ended up doing the dishes, she ended up throwing them out. I gotta say, I really love this series because I have so many crazy stories about roommates. I have been through the ringer. And on my travels, on my adventures, I have learned that it's just better to live in harmony and to clean up, you know, as a nice gesture. And hopefully that roommate matches your energy and also cleans up after you sometimes. It's just this beautiful community of shared space and living. You know what I mean? As for the report I made to our rental company, I have yet to hear back. Supposedly they will be calling S today and telling her to remove her belongings from the living room. And if nothing changes in a few days, they will escalate. Yeah, I'm gonna need to escalate this. N has now made a report that also documents the antagonistic behavior S displayed when he was taking a tour of the apartment alongside the issue of her belongings. He's not heard anything back. Overall, while I can empathize with the potential of her struggling with contamination OCD, her behavior toward us was extremely rude and uncalled for. I'm hoping that pressure from the rental company can force her into getting a storage unit or throwing away some of the empty boxes in the living room. I don't know if there's really much else the rental company can do with regards to her behavior to new tenants, but we'll see. Yeah, this honestly sounds like the situation I had when I lived in New York. I feel like this is quite common. You can work with these companies and with real estate agents to they will find you a room in a shared space, and then they find other tenants to fill the shared space. But ain't no way in hell if you can afford that, then why would you live in a situation like this where there's other roommates?
Stupid.
Oh my God. Where the boxes are now. Get the fuck out of my face. No. So we do have another update because everyone is, I'm sure, curious. Update number 3. And this was 8 months ago and there hasn't been an update since. So this might be all we get, you guys. Unfortunately, this update brings little good news. In fact, I'm so annoyed and at my wit's end that I will be escalating and complaining until I get my way. Let's start with this weekend, shall we? I stopped by my storage unit to grab a few things. One of those things being my PC. I'm starting a remote position and I need it for work. There's simply no room for me to bring my desk, so I decide I will be moving one of her boxes to make room for my monitor, keyboard, and mouse. And I did just that. Oh, she not gonna like that. Oh, this is, I fear, turning into a petty situation. Pictured above, you can see my disgusting setup. I was able to get my work done yesterday night and all was well. Wow, okay. Love New York living, eh? Later that night, I'm in the common room and S approaches me. Would you be able to move your computer? I use those bins for cooking. Why is she the only person allowed to put her in the common area? I would, but there's no room for me to fit a desk in here. Do you want me to move my things? I simply do not understand how someone has this much and insists they need and use all of it. I moved my things. She pushed her table all of 6 inches. Some of you might say I should have kept it there and stood my ground. I get that, and my plan is just to move the box when I need it and put it back when I'm done working. Because I found out something this morning that has truly set me off. Today, N and I received another update from the rental company. You can read what they wrote us in the second image. How I chose to read it was, we know S has been breaking the lease and has been antagonistic towards you both, but she's moving out in 2 weeks, so we actually solved the problem. Okay, good. Okay, let's read this. Hi, thank you for your patience while we've been looking into this. I completely understand how frustrating this has been. Please rest assured the situation should be resolved by the end of the month as roommate is scheduled to move out and we'll be removing all of their belongings from the common areas at that time. We appreciate your patience and understanding in the meantime, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience this has caused. Okay, so what's the problem? Actually, no problem was resolved. In fact, it was made worse. This enraged me more than anything S has ever done. June's Home basically told us to go f ourselves and pay the full price of the rent. Wait, what? Not on my watch. Immediately upon receiving this message, I called their support line and I'm connected with a man who can essentially guarantee nothing. I explained to him I don't understand how they're expecting me to just let this slide when she's literally breaking the lease by having things in the room. I will not be paying full price when I cannot use a large part of the space I am paying for. I Karen'd out on him. He said I will likely not get any sort of refund whatsoever. I'm going to absolutely make sure that is not the case. After calling, I looked to see if they had physical offices in Manhattan as I was in the area for a job interview. I walked to 2 addresses that were listed and it seemed neither of them were correct. This sounds like a scam. Quite frankly, it is a slap in the face just to let this slide without any compensation. She's breaking a contract. I wonder if I can escalate this legally because I'm unsure if they will listen to me. I included a couple of screenshots to the lease that I think would be helpful. Let me know if there are things I should be looking for on the lease that will give me a better case. At this point, it is beyond S and I am so annoyed with June Homes. The man on the phone said they would resolve this later, but we will see. Okay, interesting. So now she's moving out, but now they're not gonna find you a new roommate? Okay, this is her. This is the clause that she's breaking. Public access ways, residents shall not block or leave anything in or on fire escapes, the sidewalks, shared living areas, entrances, driveways, elevators, stairways or halls around the building. Honestly, this sounds like a scam situation. But I guess all they can really do is the lease is over. So, the problem is done. I feel like in a situation like this, they should find you another roommate. What about the whole situation with you moving in and wouldn't they need to find someone else to move in now? Let me just see if there's any updates. It was removed by moderator. Based on the post which was removed, it seems like this roommate hasn't paid rents for months. Wow, I'm really sad that this update isn't there. I want to see it. Show it to me. So I guess based on this update, this roommate is not gone. She's now a squatter. And judging by how New York operates, it's very tenant friendly and they can't do much. She is now a squatter. Great. This is honestly, I feel like with living situations, this is why having like an interview or like meeting your roommates before is so important. I wouldn't trust any of these situations where they find roommates to just live with you. I wouldn't trust that one bit. I would go with a situation where you can meet your roommate. There's a lot of these companies in New York because they're trying to fill all the space that they have. And I also used one when I moved there, and they take like a hefty fee too. It was so expensive. But yeah, you had no choice. I mean, I did have a choice, but it was like I didn't get to meet my roommates before. I feel like I just got to see the unit, and I met one of my guy roommates, and then I went to see the other unit with the girls that lived in it. And I think I just liked the guy more. He seemed nicer. And so I ended up living with the guys. Feel like that's what happened. Again, I'm old, so this is a while ago. But yeah, it's interesting that like I didn't really get to choose who my roommates were. The only reason why I got somewhat of a choice was there were 2 units that I could have lived in at the time. And I heard that one was all guys, and I was like, that one. Well, I'm sad that we don't seem to have a resolution for this one. The resolution is she's now living with a squatter. Am I the a-hole for correcting my roomie about her meals when eating out? You may be seated. I love my roommate very much. She's a wonderful person, and I consider her family. We've lived together for a few years, and we're both pushing 30. My roomie has a digestive condition that will cripple her with stomach cramps if she even eats a little bit of dairy. She also doesn't eat meat, but she can do eggs and some fish. So as someone who loves food and cooking, I found it very easy to cook for the both of us, and she's always so grateful about it. We go on a lot of camping trips together. We really love it. Several times now on our way to a camping trip, we'd stop somewhere to get something to eat, and she'd end up doubled over with horrible cramps by the time we got to the campsite, and we'd have to pack up and turn around. Ooh. Because I cook a lot, I have a better idea of what's in most food than she does. But when we first ate out together years ago, I pointed out something that had dairy in it to the waiter and mentioned she couldn't have dairy. And she asked me politely not to do that again, so I didn't. Okay. Well, last weekend we went on a big kayak camping trip. We had just gotten off a ferry and we were having a last hot meal at a little restaurant when she ordered something with brioche bread, which, unlike most breads, has a lot of butter in it. Yes, it does. I love it. So I said, don't get brioche. It has a ton of butter. She shot me a dirty look and asked the waiter to ask the chef, who confirmed it did, and she got a substitution. She was pretty peeved at me for correcting her about her meal in front of the waiter, something she had asked me not to do before. Okay, but like, what's the alternative though? Because you were about to go on a camping trip with this person, and she was gonna make herself sick to the point where you couldn't go on the camping trip because you had to take her home because she was sick.
Correct!
Here's the thing about this trip though. We were going to camp overnight at Posey Island, a tiny island marine park off the coast of Friday Harbor, one of the San Juan Islands in the Puget Sound. I don't know if that's the Puget Sound. I don't know how to say that. People are gonna be like, nah, Charlie, not the Puget Sound. It's actually Puget. I'm so sorry, I don't know every word in the English dictionary. The island has only 2 campsites, and we'd rented both for 2 nights, so we were going to be getting the whole island to ourselves. And one day was the lowest tide of the month as well, so we'd be getting some excellent tide pooling in. There were 4 of us on this trip. Her, me, another friend, and my girlfriend. At this point, we'd woken up at 2 a.m., driven 5 hours, taken a 2-hour ferry that cost $70, and we were gearing up to paddle a few miles over the harbor in the early morning cold. We'd all taken time off work, which was hard for us, and the only reason we'd taken such an early ferry was so we could paddle over in the early morning when there were less boats. Because Rumi is afraid of kayaking near large boats, and honestly, none of us love it. So after we did all that, I wasn't willing to turn around because she didn't want to be told she ordered something with dairy in it. And the way the ferries work to the San Juans, we'd be waiting maybe days to get on without a reservation, which was set for the day we were leaving. So am I the a-hole for correcting her about her own dietary restrictions? Edit. I feel the need to point out that while trips have been ended before due to dairy slips, of the 5 times or so it's happened 2 out of 3 that were not her fault because she ordered vegan food and we camp a lot. Basically every weekend of summer and many weekends in spring and fall. This has happened fewer than 1 out of 10 trips. I feel like she's embarrassed about her allergy, maybe? I don't really understand why she's so peeved about it. Like, why does that bother you so much? I feel like because it affects not only her, but like everyone else, I don't feel like you're the a-hole at all. I would actually argue that you have a right to be mad at her because she ruins trips, because she's not like, when you have a food allergy, you need to be diligent about letting waiters know that you have allergies, about, avoiding your allergens before, situations like this where there's no hospital. It would be very hard for you all to leave. We need to mitigate and de-escalate the issues that could arise from her eating something that she can't. So this is why OP thinks she's the a-hole. 1, the action I took was correcting my roommate about the food she ordered. 2, that might make me the a-hole because that's rude of me. I could have said it differently. I could have pointed it out not in front of the waiter. Could have just not told her what to get. I feel like she's insecure about this little issue of hers, but it's nothing to be insecure about. I also wonder if there's pills that she can take for this kind of thing. I guess maybe you didn't have to say it in front of the waiter. I think that you were trying to just do her a solid though. I fail to understand why she's upset about this. Not the a-hole. Roommate doesn't get to not advocate for her own health by not being vigilant about what she eats and ruin everyone else's plans as a result. Yeah, that's what's I feel like the a-hole here is the roommate because she's not considering that all of you have made these plans and her not caring about what she orders affects all of you. Yep, they can eat whatever they want knowing the consequence. The additional consequence should be that roommate misses out on the fun activity that everyone else is doing. OP needs to stop parenting this person and letting them ruin events. It's not valid when the consequence is no one gets to do the activity because they took one car on a 5-hour drive. I agree she's allowed to eat whatever she wants in a normal circumstance, but I find it strange she's constantly doing this before they have outdoor plans, generally leading to the plans being canceled. Feels intentional. Interesting. I don't know if I would go that far that it's intentional. It's not like this happens every time. Just let her be upset about it. Who cares? Not the a-hole, but it is time to let her suffer the consequences of her own actions without you suffering along with her. I mean, that's a very good point, but I think it's kind of difficult in this situation. I would argue that maybe it's time to not include this roommate. It seems like whenever she isn't well enough to attend something because she's down dairy beforehand, you also turn around and go home with her. That has to change. I have a friend like this that is always conveniently sick when she doesn't want to go somewhere. And then that results in her husband not being able to come either. I don't know if that applies here because it's you all took time off work. You all paid for this trip. I feel like the circumstances are different when she's actually pitched in toward it, Sorry, just dropped a little nugget of tea. She's an adult and is responsible for her own actions. If she can't be bothered to manage her own dairy intolerance, then she should be the only one suffering the consequences of that choice. If she doesn't want you to help identify dairy-containing foods, then that's fine. If she wants to stick her head in the sand about what is in the food she's eating and suffer for it later, that's her prerogative as a grown woman. You should stop missing out on doing the things you want to do just because she can't manage herself and her medical condition. I don't know if it's some kind of power play or if she's just that ignorant, but either way, it's time for you to stop playing along. She goes home to hug the toilet and you have fun doing whatever you have planned. So OP's in the comments kind of just saying I really like this person, I love her, she's a sister to me. One person said, having a discussion to set the boundary is important. If she is such a good friend, she deserves an honest discussion about what's been noticed and what will happen going forward so she's not blindsided by and unprepared for a sudden change. Yeah, I mean, OP's just it doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough that it's ruined it for you. And it was about to happen again. So I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. Just because someone is nice and you have a good relationship with them, that doesn't mean that they're that no boundaries need to be set.
I gotta poo again. No, you just went.
Male 23, living with a nightmare roommate, female 29. Help? I don't know what else to do. I've reached my absolute limit. Me, 23 male, I've been living with one roommate, 21 female, because we had mutual friends, both needed housing, and it worked out. We've been living together for 8 months, and now everything was fine in the beginning. She doesn't go to school or have a job. Okay. She door dashes to be able to pay rent and utilities while I'm in school and working full time. I keep to myself. I don't like drama, which is why I initially decided to move in with her because I thought she was very quiet and chill as well. When we first moved in, we had no issues because I was working and in school all day while she would be door dashing the majority of the day. Recently, I noticed she's been staying home more, not working as much, but again, that's none of my business until you can't pay rent and utilities. Ugh. To add more context, a few months in, she's trying to flirt and come on to me, and I never once fed into it. I'm simply not attracted to her. Oh. Is it weird that my mind like immediately went to like she's trying to get you to pay for both of them and be her boyfriend?
You're absolutely right.
And now she decided completely to flip the script and make it look like I was the one that came on to her. 2 months ago, she asked me to pay utilities because she couldn't afford it, but said she would pay me back as soon as she could. Then the next month came, she still couldn't pay it back. So what did she do? Decided to come crying to my door about her finances, about what a bad place she's in, and then proceeds to try and offer herself in exchange for me paying her half 2 months in a row. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I was very put off and immediately shut it down because I didn't want to make things awkward between us. So I pretended like it never happened. Fast forward to today, I receive a text asking for me to pay her utilities again. And when I decide to stand my ground, she's now trying to out me as gay.
Gay!
I beg your finest pardon. I don't even know how to respond to this. I already contacted the landlord, but I don't know what else to do. I've never been in a situation like this. Please help. We both have another 4 months left on the lease. What do I do? Okay, we have text messages. Hey, can you cover me on utilities this month? I know I'm late, but I don't have any money right now. I could only afford to pay rent. I would really appreciate it. I'll pay you back as soon as I can. Okay, so like what happened to the door dashing? Dude, no. This is already the third time in a row you're late on rent and utilities. I had to spot you last month too, and you trying to offer other ways to pay me back is disgusting. You need to get your together or move out. This is getting ridiculous. I've never offered spicy time to you. You came on to me when we first moved in and you were always flirting with me. You were practically begging for it. Don't act stupid. And you know the situation I'm in. Can you be more empathetic? Ooh, okay, this is weird. This is where I draw the line. You're actually crazy. The fact you'd ever think I came onto you or even came close to flirting with you is crazy. You're a slob, you have no job, and you're trying to take advantage of the fact that you have a male roommate because you think that everyone wants to have spicy time with you. Not to mention, you came knocking on my door last month crying because you couldn't afford utilities, and when I kindly offered to spot you the first time, you alluded to giving me spicy time in exchange for me paying for your stuff. Don't try and flip the script. F you for saying that. I was being nice to you because I felt guilty that I couldn't pay for my half. How is that crazy? No, babe, that's crazy. And that would turn me off also. If anything, you're crazy for thinking I even want you in the first place. You said it yourself right there. I was being nice to you because I felt guilty. You truly reached an all-time low because trying to offer spicy time for utilities to your male roommate just because you think I'm into you. I wouldn't even touch you with a stick from across our living room. Get a grip. Sure, keep pretending you're not into me, buddy. Just making our living situation 10 times more awkward because you can't admit it. I would argue the only thing making this awkward, well, number one, her not like paying her way. And number two, I fail to understand. So she's saying that, oh, like you're into me. So like I just offered. So weird. So weird.
Who does that?
So go be with somebody else for the utility money. I'm not paying for your half of anything anymore. Good luck. I'll be contacting the landlord. I'm done putting up with this. You're making me feel uncomfortable in my own space. Right, I'll contact the landlord first and tell him what a piece of crap you are. And while I'm gone, I'm telling everyone you're gay, rainbow emojis. Clearly, you must be because you don't want to have spicy time with women. You effed with the wrong person, you piece of gay, rotten Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. This is kind of up. You poor thing.
I feel sorry for you.
The top comment is, I'm sorry, but from now on, I only want to be referred to as a piece of gay rotten shit. Like, it's almost funny. Like, not almost. Like, it's actually funny. OP added in the comments, I have 4 months left on my lease. I go to school full time and work, and I can barely afford to live here myself. The difference is that she doesn't go to school. She can work full time, but chooses to DoorDash, which obviously isn't a reliable source of income for her. I can't afford to find a different place. The landlord's an a-hole. Do I just bite the bullet and try to avoid any interaction with her for the next 4 months? This is why these things, like the roommate situations, are always so is because like you're in, like because you sign leases, you're in a contract that is very difficult to get out of. And I fail to understand what to even do because there's things like squatters, right? Squatters' rights. If you end up in a situation where you can't stay in that situation, I feel like the only option, oh gosh. Yeah, this person is really, really unhinged. I would definitely be saving all of these messages, screenshot everything, document everything. You're in a situation where this person is not thinking clearly. And the fact that you even have her like in writing, admitting that she's gonna go around and try and ruin your life, like say all this stuff about you. This is crazy. Like, what do you even do in this situation? Like, I don't know. She's harassing you. She's not paying her rent. She's threatening you. Yeah, I would definitely show everything to the landlord, and I would also show the police. Some people are saying get out ASAP. Yeah, but it's like also he signed a lease. So like, do you just not pay? I feel like they have the right to like sue you if you don't pay. Ooh, sticky situation. Here's some good advice. Pick up some shifts, start studying and doing homework at uni so you aren't home. Invite friends over more. Yeah, but it's also his stuff. Like, I'd be worried about his stuff as well. People are saying put a camera in your room. He did that. At least you only have 4 months left. What would I do in this situation? I agree. I would like avoid being there as much as possible. Take your like valuables and like see if you can leave them with a friend or in storage or something. If you have a storage unit or like in your car or something. Not the best, most ideal thing to do, but like you only have 4 months. I would just try to avoid her as much as possible. 40-year-old housemates from hell when living in student accommodation. I'm sorry, come again? You have a 40-year-old housemate living in student accommodation with you? Okay. So this one is going to be kind of long as it's been going on for 6 months now. I finished my second year at university and I've been living in the same house in student accommodation the whole time. The student accommodation isn't dorms, but a gated community of townhouses that is a 5-minute walk from campus. Each house has 5 rooms, one downstairs that's a premium room as it's bigger, the room I live in, and 4 upstairs rooms. Each room has their own bathroom, but the kitchen, dining area, and living area are all shared by the housemates. Additionally, we all only pay rent for our own rooms, so as people come and go from the university, we don't have to deal with replacing roommates, and management of the village is responsible for putting in new housemates and dealing with individual contracts. Here's where it all goes wrong. At this point, I've lived in my room in my house for 1.5 years and have never had any issues with housemates. I've had 8 from all sorts of backgrounds and things were fine. The place is pretty chill and everyone who lives there has to be a student at the university and is usually around 18 to 25 years old. Semester 2 of university starts around June as I live in Australia and there are 3 vacant rooms upstairs. So I'm expecting some new housemates. As I come home one day, I see 2 middle-aged ladies sitting at the dining table. So as I walk in the door, I introduce myself and say I live here and ask who they are. And to my shock, they say they're my new housemates. Okay. They explain that they're master's students who are both 40 years old and have just moved to Australia from Korea together. One of them has a husband and 2 kids that she left back home. At first, things are okay, but around the second week of us living together, things get strange. They messaged the house group chat complaining about a mess in the dining room that needed cleaning, which was just my jacket left on the chairs as I forgot to put it in my bag on my way to class. Hello ladies, good Thursday. This is a shared dormitory for 5 people, so after using the common area, please clean it up for your roommates. Okay. They said they couldn't eat at the lunch table because it was there, which I thought was strange. Why couldn't they just move it? But I said sorry anyways and put it back in my room. Things like this continue to happen until it starts to really frustrate me and my friend who lives in one of the upstairs rooms. The ladies come up with their own rules for the house without consulting the rest of the housemates, who are all ages 19 to 21, and post them in the group chat. These include a daily vacuuming schedule, disinfecting the microwave after every use, forbidden the use or opening of the sliding doors to the house, keeping curtains shut at all times during the day. We cannot make any noise, even playing music on our phones on half volume in our own rooms, and insisting that when they're using the kitchen or common areas, we cannot be in the kitchen or common areas either. Oh no. Me and my friend who lived upstairs decided to talk to them about these rules because we both have lived in the house for 1.5 years, and these ladies have lived there for 2 weeks. And we think they are unfair, especially as it's a very social place, as is university accommodation, that is kind of made to accommodate younger students looking to make friends and enjoy the university culture and environment. Literally, these girls, these ladies are living in a dorm. If you don't want the university culture, find a different place to live. We talked to them super nicely and said we want to make sure that they're comfortable in this house and that we're willing to make adjustments if they are too, so everyone can be happy. Instead of being polite, they told us they think that because they're master's students and older than us, that they get to make the rules and we have to listen. No. I would argue that the people that were there longest get to make the rules, but at the end of the day, it's like nobody gets to make rules that other people don't agree to, you know? Like, it's like, okay, maybe, you know, they're a little bit, let's say you start living with a new roommate. And this roommate roommate has something about cleaning where they're like, I really like my space to be like cleaner. So what can we do to collaborate on this to make it so that we're both like comfortable in this space? That has to be agreed to before these people move in. And hopefully, you know, if it becomes something that like, okay, maybe I would like it to be a little cleaner, you both have the discussion and you both collaborate together to figure out how to make it work together. One person doesn't get to just dictate the rules, okay? I pointed out nicely that after this, that at the end of the day, we pay the same rent. I pay more, as I have the downstairs room, but I didn't say that. Could argue that I pay more in rent, so I get to make rules, but anyways. Then it just gets weird, you know? Like, why is it that everybody can't just, like, get along? In this house, we are equals and should treat each other with respect despite any age differences. The fact that you said that, despite you having seniority in terms of, like, the fact that you live there longer and you pay more rent, that already tells me that you're the person in the right. After this, things got pretty tense pretty quickly and they became nasty. They would yell at us whenever we came downstairs, complain about tiny things, and ultimately write emails to management about us saying untrue things and make it out to sound like we are hoarders and slobs who are forcing them to live in squalor. None of this, I would like to point out, is true. Our house is pretty clean, but of course there's just a bit of general mess that's created by existing as a human being in the house that we clean up at the end of the day after university if we haven't already cleaned it immediately after we made any mess. Dishes, a few crumbs on the carpet, etc. Also, our house gets monthly inspections to check for cleanliness and we have never failed. So admin takes their complaints seriously and we've been told off, even though the two ladies have attached no photographical evidence of the mess. They could have also faked that though. And our house now has weekly inspections. Additionally, we are now only allowed guests once at a time, for 1 hour at a time, with their permission, even if we are just in our own rooms not making noise. Admin doesn't take us seriously when we try to tell them about the situation because we are half their age. And obviously, they're going to believe the 40-year-olds rather than the 20-year-olds. This is a similar situation, like they're trying to make it unbearable for you so that you leave. Anyways, I asked admin to make them attach photos of the mess they were complaining about every few days, and to my surprise, I received a call from an admin shortly after. In the phone call, they said, "We received another complaint from your housemates, but after looking at photos, we agree that they're making mountains out of molehills, that they too are sick of dealing with their complaints." Another side note, I have a pretty severe anxiety disorder, and having to deal with this whole situation for the last 6 months has been awful for my mental health. Yeah, honestly, a situation like this is your home, your space is supposed to be your like safety net. It is supposed to be the place where you can go and relax and not have to worry about the stresses of the world and the fact that you don't feel safe. That's what you feel. You feel unsafe in your own home. I don't blame you. That's why I have a no tolerance policy with roommates. Or had. Now I just have a husband. I haven't been able to leave my room when they're out in the common spaces and even have panic attacks, oh bestie, when using the kitchen for fear of them coming back and yelling at me. Because of this, I've been planning on moving out of the house, but family and financial situations haven't allowed that. It's holidays, so I'm staying with my parents, but when semester starts up again in February, I truly don't know what I'm gonna do to deal with them, the disrespect and endless complaints. Also, my friend from upstairs has now moved out. Oh no, so it's just you? Because of them and the lack of support from admin, so I'm on my own. Oh no. Hopefully the new housemate who fills that room will be nice. Another note, in my opinion, they are way too old to be living in student housing, and I just want to know what they expected when moving in with 3 20-year-olds. They didn't care. They're living there because it's cheap, babes. They don't care. And it's not like there isn't other cheap accommodation around. They moved here from Korea, so why don't they just move into their own apartment together if they have such a specific way for how they want to live? I mean, I agree with you, but I bet you anything, like if I know student housing, it's probably a lot cheaper and more convenient for them. Also, it's not like they don't know about the other housing options, because one day they showed me cheap apartments in the area they suggested I move into because they didn't want to live with me anymore. People are pointing out the roommate's husband is probably loving the fact that she's gone. Hello all, I will be having one overnight guest on Thursday. I hope that's okay. Thanks. Received, but we have a midterm on Friday, so don't be noisy. And then they send the village rules and policies. It's so passive aggressive. Oh my God. Oh my God. If I got a message like this, I would be so livid. All the rules. I'm just looking at all of these. This is so aggressive. They take a picture of the water bottle as if it's like, this is so messy. Look at all your mess. And meanwhile, they're leaving the stove on. Whoa. That is one thing that like you cannot let slide. Someone leaving a stove on. Like that is like, you got to get called out for that. But it's so interesting that they have so many rules about how clean they want things but then they'll do something literally so dangerous, like leave the stove on. Buddy, I'm over it. So people are kind of pointing out, well, there is a mess. Like you left the carpet like with shit on it. And I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing. If they want to maintain an everyday let's vacuum policy, then just like literally turn on the vacuum and do it. It's not difficult. Honestly, takes less than 10 seconds. Nah, I'm over it. And I'm honestly, that's enough for today. I'm gonna leave this video upset. Oh man. Those are some entitled roommates that need a good kick in the pants. Subscribe!